Good afternoon and welcome back to Trading Options Network. I'm excited to be back. As always, every Monday. It's like on the weekends I get bored and tired, and I can't wait for Monday so we can actually do some stuff. I'm sure a lot of traders feel the same way. Weekends take forever when you actually enjoy what you're doing. But that being said, before we get into anything, let's go ahead and get our disclaimer out of the way. Everything we discuss is solely my opinion, not the opinion of Trading Options Network. So do with the information what you will, but take responsibility for your actions. And of course, be sure to like, follow, or subscribe on your favorite social media platform to stay up to date with everything that is Trading Options Network. That being said, it's a pretty red day today. Nvidia's up a little bit. I don't know, maybe Nvidia had their earnings. I don't think that Nvidia had their earnings. But Nvidia's pretty much the only thing that's green right now, especially within the bigger companies, at least, bright green anyways. Apple's up a little bit. Google's up a little bit. We got Bank of America over. I'm sorry, not Bank of America. Sorry, Boeing. Gosh, Bank of America. That was stupid. BAC. I saw the BA. Yeah. I'm second guessing myself. This is funny. Anyways, Boeing is kind of green there. Actually, I haven't looked at Boeing for a while. I wonder what their chart looks like, but don't really care right now. I don't have a position open into it, but I'm curious because I was expecting to go down quite a bit, and yeah, it's kind of been going down a little bit. It's obviously had a nice gap up. Did it have earnings today? No, it's in a couple days, but it's a pretty nice gap up there. But let's get back to what we were talking about. Okay, so it's a pretty red day. Am I surprised? No, not really, because we've had a pretty nice green week last week. And, of course, I keep saying that I expect to be relatively, slightly bullish at best up until Election Day. And that's exactly what we've been doing. So we had a pretty nice, I'm not just going to say it wasn't big by any means, but we had a green week last week. If we put on the weeklies. It was a nice, small, very small green week last week. So far today, it's been nothing but a slight drop before we opened and a slight gap down. We actually went down to this blue line here, which would be a support line, and we're bouncing back up. So again, just proves my theory that we are going to be relatively bullish, slightly bullish for a little while here. Again, I really believe that until election happens, the election day happens, it's going to be bullish, mildly bullish. Now, this is painting a completely different picture due to the fact that this is the equal weight ETF. So obviously, what's the difference between these two? Well, the difference between these two is that Nvidia is doing a whole heck of a lot to keep up the S&P. Same with Apple and Google. Obviously, Nvidia is a lot more in terms of its greenness today. But these three big companies, it's crazy when you think about it, but these three green companies are almost offsetting the entire rest of the market. Because again, here's the equal weight ETF, the daily candle for today. And this is the actual S&P candle, almost a doji, okay? Almost where it opened currently with 31 minutes to close. All right, so not a lot going on today in terms of the market movement, but the equal weight ETF, if this finishes over that blue line, we're still bullish. We're still over the 20-day. We're still over the 50-day, okay? So it's still a bullish chart. There's no doubt about that. It's just a pullback. That's all it is. It's a pullback. Am I getting worried? No. Let's go ahead and look at our setups. I'm sorry, not our setups. Our current positions right now. So MasterCard, unfortunately, we'd have a little bit of loss today. And man, I played this one so poorly. And I'm going to take full responsibility for this. I was so tired at the end of last week that I think half the things I did, I wasn't even thinking totally properly. So unfortunately, we closed this one for a little bit of a loss, not a big loss by any means. We were up last Friday, but then today, I was looking at it like, oh my gosh, what did I set myself up with? But anyways, I'm not too worried about it. MasterCard did go up how I wanted it to for the last couple of weeks, but it actually took off a lot higher, and then it stalled out at around 515. I was thinking it was going to stall out around 505. So obviously it went up, what would that be? About 2% higher than I was expecting. But nonetheless, I mean, we were profitable up until today when, unfortunately, I closed the position probably a little bit both late and early at the same time because I left myself with 300 short shares, and I probably should have left myself with either all 800 or just closed the position completely last week. But again, that was a knucklehead movement on my part last week. I will say this, if you're overly tired and, not well rested and not clear your mind, you should not be trading. That was totally my bad. Anyways, moving forward, we're up $1,500, almost $1,600 for the day. Okay. And that's including the little loss on MasterCard today. Dominion, we opened up today. Okay. And UDR, we opened up another short position on today. Okay. Remember UDR, we opened up that short position last week or 2 weeks ago maybe. And it kind of bounced when I was not expecting it to bounce. And I said, when it closed, we're putting it back onto our bear watch list. As you can see, it's still there. So I'm going to actually get rid of that there. That's going here because we now have it open. MasterCard's being taken off. Dominion is being put on. And let's see. What am I missing? Actually, no, that's it because MasterCard just took off. That's right. Okay. Fox. Oh gosh, why can't I think? Newmont, that's right. Newmont Corporation. TDS, ExxonMobil. They're still on my bull watch list, although I think I might take ExxonMobil off because, let me just go ahead and put this to orange really quick. Oh, no, I'm sorry, green. ExxonMobil is not looking very good today. So I put it on the bull watch list because after it had gapped down the other day, last week, it didn't really want to go anywhere. It looked like it wanted to take the 20-day and use the 20-day as support and possibly could bounce. So even though we had ended up closing the position for that loss after the bad news we got last week in the the sector, it was either Iran or Iraq, something about, honestly, I don't remember. Again, I don't care so much about the news. Good news and bad news articles are going to happen and they are going to affect your trades. You can't predict them, so I don't really pay too much attention to them. The only thing I trade is the charts. And again, I thought the 20-day was going to act as support. I was hoping it would. It didn't. It went below the 20-day. That's when we closed our position last Friday. And it did gap up today. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it will after all, but it is moving downwards again today. So, we'll give it one more day, see where ExxonMobil decides to go. But this one's not looking good. I don't think I'm going to be keeping it on my bull watch list much longer. TDS, Telephone Data Systems. Remember, we closed at almost the top on Friday. And we closed and put it back onto the bull watch list for a very good reason. I was expecting this to continue to drop down. But if it does do more of like a pennant or a flag setup or a high base of some sort, and the 20 and the 50 days start catching up to it, it could be a good opportunity to get back into it again. But I didn't want to just let it sit there and ultimately get crushed because we tried to time the market. I talked a lot about that the other day on Friday. Timing the market is not going to ever work. It's just not. Reading the charts, understanding what stocks and ETFs and securities will do when things happen, that's how you win the stock game. Okay. Newmont Corporation. So Newmont, I'm actually enjoying the red bar today because one thing I was waiting for was a pullback before I got into this because, it went over the 20-day And I think I had this on my stock of the day on this day, which would have been what, the 15th of October. So last Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember exactly, but I wanted to see a pullback. And even though we got a couple red days in a row, technically this is actually still a green day. It was still green by a decent amount. This one didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it's a red candle, but that's only because it finished lower than it opened. But technically it was still a positive day. So a lot of green, 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 green. And now we're having this big red candle. Now, am I going to take this off of my bull watch list? Absolutely not. I'm enjoying this because all I see here is people profit taking at this point. So when it comes down, the 20 and the 50 day catch up to these candles, then again, I think it's going to be a great opportunity, similar to TDS, to open up that position at that point. And then finally, Fox. Fox, very similar to Newmont. I like this pullback. It looks like the 20 is going to be acting as support. So assuming it does act as support, okay, assuming the 20 does act as support, and maybe tomorrow we get a doji, and then on Wednesday we maybe gap up a little bit, then I'm absolutely 100%, you better believe it, I'm opening up a position on Fox, because this chart is just freaking beautiful. This is one of my favorite patterns, is the bull pullback. As a matter of fact, we're going to be talking about that in just a few minutes. Getting back to our actual positions that we have open. Philip Morris. Philip Morris, we want to go down. And it finally, again, similar to telephone and data systems, how the Bollinger Bands were getting very, very narrow. Why? I don't want that. The Bollinger Bands were getting narrow on telephone and data systems, and it shot up. It was a bullish pattern. They got narrow. It shot up. Well, the Bollinger Bands are getting narrow. This is a bearish pattern for the short term anyways, and it finally is dropping down. So what does that look like for us on PM? Well, if you notice, PM, we're still down 2,200 overall, but we still have 25 days till expiration on these 120 puts, and we're up $1,000 today. Okay, a couple more days like today. In fact, it won't even take a couple days, because as it goes down more, the delta gets bigger and bigger, and the bigger delta gets, the more our premium is going to increase as it moves down. Okay, so if we had another day like today, we would probably expect a $1,500 to $2,000 increase on our position tomorrow. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. But overall, it looks like actually, earnings is tomorrow, before the market opens. I hate playing earnings. I really, really do. This is going to be something that I'm going to look into. I'll probably end up closing the position. I hate playing earnings, although I do like the fact that there's a lot of people that seem to be scared of earnings for Philip Morris, so maybe I'll keep half the position open. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. See what people are expecting, see if there's anything at all that should worry me about Philip Morris before I close the position, but I might just close that position today. Howmet. Okay. Howmet is still looking really, really strong. Really strong. Yes, it's red today. Okay. It was red Friday, but after a big red day, technically it's green actually because it did gap up. It's just red because it is lower than where it opened. We're still up 36 cents since Friday. Not necessarily the best candle in the world, but again, the entire market almost is red today. This is not very red. Okay. In fact, it's green. Again, it is green. Sometimes I confuse myself when I'm looking at this. And sometimes I should probably look at this pattern right here. If we go over here to good old Howmet. It's a lot easier to see that it is technically green, even though, I don't know, maybe it's just the white background that makes it easier. I don't know. But it's clearly, obviously, higher than where we finished yesterday. But again, we're looking at it. it is green for today. We're up 35 cents. The stock price, I should say, is up 35 cents today. We are up $500 on it today, so that gives us a total profit so far on this trade of $13.60. So that's a little over 1/3% of our portfolio. But again, with the earnings coming up, actually, we still have a ways away for earnings, so definitely gonna hold on to this one for a while and look for another move up. Dominion. Okay, so Dominion was my stock of the day for the weekend, or over the weekend, and I really liked this chart. And of course, when the market opened, it started taking off. I got to get into it. I got to get into it. I got to get into it. Of course, again, this is similar to Howmet, where it gapped up, and even though it is a red candle, we're still green for the day. It is still higher than where we finished on Friday. But I like this. I like this chart pattern right here. It's actually also very similar to TDS, Telephone and Data Systems. We go back to this one. Well, let's see, TDS. If we look at TDS, this is what Dominion was a few days ago. So here we are with Telephone and Data Systems. If we look at Dominion, it's just 2 days past, but it's almost the exact same chart. Okay, so again, that's exactly why TDS is on my bull watch list now. Again, I thought Dominion was going to move on higher if it started taking off this morning, so we opened up that position. I'm not worried about the position by any means. I don't think it's going to really go down at all. I think, if anything, for the next few days, we will go ahead and go sideways and wait for that 20 and 50 day to move up. But let's look at our position. We still have 60 days till expiration, so it's not like we need it to move up in the next couple of days to be profitable. So even though we're down a little bit right now because it did pull back a little bit today after it took off, we're holding on to this for sure. Cisco. Let's look at Cisco really quick. So Cisco, we are bearish on it, and I'm loving this chart right now because this is super, super bearish pattern right here. Looks great. Looks really, really good. It could easily go down to 74 even by tomorrow. And then if it breaks this support right here, then the next leg down, it could probably see, in the ballpark $72 a share. So we could be looking pretty nice with this position. And let's see, with Cisco, we have 25 days till expiration. So it's not one we're going to be holding much longer, that's for sure. At the very, very most, we'll hold it up to earnings. But if it does I shouldn't say gap down, but if it does move down more up till earnings, we'll probably be closing that. And then finally, UDR. Again, we talked about UDR already. Being that I'm shorting it, I did put on that trail stop. You can see where my trail stop is at right now. It's all the way up here. We are down here, so we have, and it is a trail stop. So what that means is as this goes down, this green line will go down, okay? Now, does it mean I'm going to be holding it until that trail stop finally triggers? Absolutely not. In fact, if it gets down to our lows, our recent lows, this, let's see, it was around 43.26. It's only 50 more cents. But if it gets down to there, we'll probably close maybe half of the position or so and then see what happens with it. But I would love to see this one break. Obviously, does not take a genius to see that we had a lower high here. And the 20-day is about to cross the 50-day. The MACD is showing bearishness. The CCI is showing bearishness. Okay, when we shorted it over here, it was just, crappy luck for us that this is when it decided to do its bounce right there. But again, I think getting into it today, we shorted this for 2,500 shares. Probably when it was like right around in there. Okay. So we shorted it at a great price. Well, let's see. We are currently up on it. $525, so at 2,500 shares. That's what, 20 cents? Roughly. So I guess 20 cents. So where are we at right now? 43.77. So, well, I guess I'll actually say 43.98. Yeah, 21 cents. All right, so 43.98. I guess it was a little bit lower. But again, that big drop, when I saw it this morning, I was like, this is exactly what we wanted to see. Very, very similar to a bull pullback. This is a bear rally. Okay, this is a bear rally. Very similar to that bull pullback. Love it just as much. So I liked that big red bar. Yes, we definitely got in short on this one, and I want to see this one move down. So there's where our positions are at, and also our watch list. I'm liking where everything is at right now. Nice profitable day so far today. We are up. Well, now we're about $2,000, so that's 2/3% today of our portfolio. We're looking at about 2/3% of our portfolio today. I mean, shoot, if I can have 1/4% every single day, 1/4% of a portfolio, that is a massive, massive gain if we could do that every trading day. Do I expect that? No, there's going to be red days, of course. But if we can average 1/4% a day, man, we're going to be doing really, really well in no time. So I like where we're at today. Last thing I'm going to talk about. Chart patterns. That good old bull pullback. So my tip of the day this morning was a bull pullback. We actually started a new series where I'm going to go over some of my favorite chart patterns and what I'm looking for in those chart patterns. And it's, when it comes to a bull pullback, it does not take a genius to understand what a bull pullback is. It's actually quite simple. A bull pullback is a pullback in a stock that has recently been moving higher. Okay? It's a stock that's in a bull trend, and it has a little bit of a pullback. So it's for a day or two, it's been red, or maybe 3 days, or maybe 4 days. I mean, who knows? But nonetheless, what is a bull pullback? So what I'm looking for in a bull pullback, obviously I want to see higher highs and higher lows. Okay, overall. If I'm seeing higher highs and higher lows, then as it says there, we're in a clear uptrend. Okay, but at pullback is when it's going to be setting a new higher low. The stock price on the pullback is above the 50 moving average, the 50-day moving average, assuming you are a swing trader like I am. I pretty much only study the day charts. I don't really study the hourly charts, the minute charts, or anything like that. Well-defined levels of support, of course, we want that. Oh, I forgot to mention, we would love for it to still be over the 20-day moving average. But again, I keep talking about, hey, the 20-day this, the 20-day that. It dropped below the 20-day. Now, I know with ExxonMobil when it dropped below the 20-day, just because it gapped down the way it did, and then it couldn't go higher when it dropped below that 20-day. Even though it was still over the 50-day moving average, I just didn't like that. So that's why I put it on my bull watch list, because I think it could still be a good opportunity to get in. But nonetheless, again, we said well-defined levels of support within a well-performing sector or industry. Obviously, we do not want to look for a stock that is moving opposite of its own sector. Okay, I'm not saying you can't make money on those, but if I'm looking for a bullish stock, I want the sector overall to be bullish as well. Okay, kind of common sense. And then last thing a lot of people don't talk about is decreasing volume in a pullback. Why do we want decreasing volume in a pullback? Well, if we can get, let's actually go ahead and pull up UDR here. All right, so even though there were a couple of days where the volume was higher here, these last couple of days when it continued to move higher, look how much the volume decreased there. And then sure enough, we had a red day here, volume increased a little bit of a green day, smaller volume, and then this small volume on the red day here, this could easily increase, being that we're in 10 minutes till the bell closes, 11 minutes till the bell closes. We can get a good influx of volume here on this one. But what I want to see when we're doing some kind like a bull pullback or a bearish rally of some kind you want to see decreasing volume. So let's look at Dominion really quick as well. All right, so Dominion, this is a good example. Okay. So that's a little bit too much there. Gosh, how the heck did that happen? All right. Okay. Look at all this volume, all this buying that happened on this day. Now, I'm not saying this is really a pullback. It's not all that much of a pullback, but look at how much the volume has decreased. That means there's a lot of people that bought here and very, very few people that are selling. Meaning that because the volume is decreasing, there's not a lot of people that are wanting to get rid of their position. Okay? There are some, obviously, but not a ton. That's very, very good. That tells us that when people start coming in to buy again, they should be able to push it higher. Howmet is another good example. Okay, if we go ahead and zoom into this one. Gosh, I hate it how it does that every freaking time to change it. Okay. All right, again, so Howmet. Decreasing volume on this pullback. Right here, from 10.8 to 10.10. Red day, inside bar, red day. The volume on these were lower than pretty much every day around it, which were all, for the most part, green days. Okay? Now, we had a red day yesterday, which even though it was not yesterday, but Friday, even though it was a nasty candle, look at that volume. A lot lower than the volume the previous day. Not moving much anywhere today, but look at the volume. Much lower than what it was on Friday. So again, there's not a lot of people trying to sell right now, which means once buyers start coming in, this should push it higher. So that's what I mean when I'm looking at a bull pullback, or I should say decrease in volume in a pullback. Yes, you want to determine your time frame. Is your bull pullback going to last 2 days, 3 days, 5 days? You know, you're going to look at history. History does tend to repeat itself. Entry point, well, a newly defined pivot low. That's where you're going to want to look at your support levels. Okay, is it hitting the support line and look like it wants to bounce off of it? You know, you have to figure out your entry point. I'm not even going to talk about this because the only time you would use this obviously is if you get into that position. And if you get into the position and it goes against you, then yeah, you're going to have a stop loss of some kind. But again, bull pullbacks. I love, love, love bull pullback chart patterns because bull pullbacks are one of those stock or chart patterns that really goes with the trend is your friend mentality. Okay? The trend is your friend. Every time if you're looking at a bullish chart or a bearish chart, you're going to have bull pullbacks. You're going to have bear rallies. You have to, okay? It's not going to be green every single day. It's not going to be red every single day in terms of a bearish stock chart. But again, I love bull pullbacks. They are one of my favorite patterns. The hard part with a bull pullback is the strategy. And I will be honest with you on that. The strategy, I mean, you can go anywhere from almost a neutral strategy to a very aggressive bullish strategy. There's a lot of different strategies that you can use when it comes to the bull pullback chart pattern. A lot of it has to do with the sector and the overall market. But again, you know, that's probably going to be the hardest part when you're looking at the bull pullback chart pattern is figuring out the strategy to put with that security. But again, bull pullbacks, probably my favorite chart pattern to trade. So hope you learned something today. I love talking to you guys. I really do. I could probably talk another hour on this stuff, but I don't want to bore you guys. Market is about to close here in a few minutes. So, you know, make sure you get out of any positions you need to get out of or whatever you need to do. But until tomorrow, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.